Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. First up for T&D today, I have, obviously, my rooster mug here. There's nothing more to it than that. It's just a rooster mug. It's one of my oldest mugs, but it is just a rooster mug. Inside of it, we have some Wildberry Zinger from Celestial Seasonings, a nice sort of, well, not sort of, a nice super berry-ish tea. This one is one where you kind of don't want to let it steep too long, because if you do, it gets not quite cough syrupy, but it becomes like, you know, that kind of feeling essentially in your mouth. But if you do it right, it's delicious, and I like it a lot. So that's what I got today. You might be wondering, well, hey, aren't you supposed to be presenting on why healing isn't a waste of time today? You would be correct. Unfortunately, I got really busy, and I ran out of time trying to finish that up. So that's going to be, hopefully, next week. That being, I'm creating like a slideshow, essentially, for it. So it's going to have actual arguments in it. So that's going to be next week. This week, instead, I want to talk about healers in general. Because healers are a core piece of, you know, fantasy in general. The healer member of the party is a central pillar almost of the core adventuring party, as put forth by, I don't know, the gods who write things or something like that. I don't know. The people who write stuff. They're the ones that have decided essentially that there is going to be a healer in everything. In D&D 1E, I believe it was magic user, fighting man, thief, and cleric or healer, something like that. I think that's right. Mostly I remember the fighting man because I think it's hilarious that they called it that instead of a fighter or a swordsman or something like that. Fighting man. That's what they decided to go with. That's not the point. We're not talking about them. We're talking about healers today. And not just because healer is one of my favorite roles in the party, but because I think that it is important to kind of sit down and unpack why healers are actually really awesome in all games, but especially in 5th edition. And because from what I understand, in 5th edition, they're actually way better than in other games even. So let's go ahead and let's take a little gander here and let's chat about what the deal with healers really is. First things first, I want to get this one out of the way because it is something that bothers me genuinely to my core. And it is the fact that there is only one class that is a dedicated healer in 5th edition. I personally believe that it is the wrong class for it to be in. I think that it should be a different class that is this dedicated healer. And I'm talking about a core class, not a subclass. And I want you to see, I want to see real quick if you can tell me what it is. So like pause this or something and tell me what you think it is. I'll give you like 5 seconds here, and then I'm gonna say it. So the only class in 5th edition that is a dedicated healer is the Paladin class. Why? Why is it the Paladin class? I appreciate the fact that they're not boxing the cleric in to just being a healer. However, the Paladin has so much stuff, and somehow they also manage to be the only dedicated healer in the game. You might be asking yourself, what makes them the dedicated healer? They are also, you know, the tank and the damage output. Why would they be the healer? Paladin is the only class that has healing built into it. Lay on Hands is the only class feature that you are guaranteed to get that heals people in the game. Period. You get magic, not guaranteed to heal people. You can take plenty of spells that don't heal people. The Cleric spell list is one of the best in the game, in my opinion, and you could fully prepare spells that do not heal anyone. You could ignore them entirely. Paladins are the only ones with a dedicated healing pool, which makes them the only dedicated healers in the game, which bothers me deeply. Again, so glad that they didn't just shoehorn it into Cleric, but I wish that they had the healing pool because honestly, it'd make my life a little bit easier when I'm sitting there trying to decide what to do with my action. In that, I want to conserve spell slots as a Cleric, not the point. So, with that out of the way, we are talking about people who actually trend towards healing. We are not just talking about Paladins here. But I felt that that was important to mention because it is something that bothers me personally, and I have come to realize that it might bother more than just me on the internet here. So, you know, if it does, let me know. If it bothers you, let me know. That's what I'm going for there. But that is just kind of the way that it is for now. And unless they do a major rewrite when they re-release in 2024, that's going to be the way that it stays for the lifetime of 5th edition. So let's get into why healers are great as just a concept, particularly in 5th edition. And this, again, is about the people that build for healing and build for that kind of role as opposed to just the paladin class being the only healer. So, first and foremost, I wholly believe that every party should have some kind of healer in it, or at least some form of healing in it, because the reality of it is, and I'm going to talk about this when I do my healing presentation thing for you all, healing is a vital part of the 5th edition economy in the sense that you have to heal to effectively make it through an adventuring day. An adventuring day, in 5th edition terms, is laid out as 6 to 8 encounters. Now, I know everybody freaks out when I say encounters because the default for encounters is assumed to be combat encounters. That's not the case. It means 6 to 8 actual interactions that you should have in any given day that require roleplay, mechanics, something like that. Things that you could be awarded experience points for is essentially what an encounter is. So that could include plenty of talking, plenty of that, but there are going to be days where you are dungeon crawling and all of your encounters are going to be rolled on a random table or scripted encounters that have that have been planned out in advance by the DM. And in those cases, you have to be able to heal. And so there are plenty of rules in the DMG, like alternate rules, that allow you to shorten short rests so that you can heal up, shorten long rests so you can heal up, like ways to sort of facilitate healing without there being a healer in the party. However, sometimes you don't have that time to burn. You don't necessarily have the shortened version of a short rest amount of time in order to get it. You need to get slapped in the face with the cure wounds and move on because there is something barreling down that hallway at you. And that is where it is vital for everybody to have some kind of healing in their party. My good friend Brooklyn Tuesday has talked about it on her TikTok channel. If you don't have a dedicated healer in your world or in your party, then you as the DM, the general you as the DM, should be allowing your players to have more potions or something like that, something that gives them a little bit more access to healing in that capacity. A good example of that is if you listen to NADPOD, it's not really a spoiler, I've talked about this before a little bit. Bev's amulet from Season 1 allows them to heal up. That is important because they would be dead a lot if they couldn't do that. So having a source of healing in your party is vital. Now, having it be an actual individual in the party is even better because, one, that person has the ability to be a dynamic resource within a party. Especially in 5th edition where the action economy is equalized across the board. There's nobody that can, well, fighters can attack faster, but there's not like... There is a boundedness to the craziness that you can get into in a 5th edition combat encounter turn, which means that everybody, even if you do stuff that doesn't end up working or whatever, has the same general trajectory for effectiveness possible in their turn. And so, if you are the damage-dealing barbarian paladin smiting on every hit and just like doing massive amounts of damage, you are lacking in a different place. That place is the place that the cleric or the druid or whoever is accelerating in while they might not be dishing as much damage out. And so in 5th edition, when there is a party member that is the dedicated healing thing, you are allowed to take all of your action economy to focus on the thing that you are good at, and they are then allowed to take all of their action economy and focus on the thing that they are good at. And that is the important piece of it there. Often, DMs will house rule that you can drink a potion as a bonus action, feed a potion as an action. Some of them will do drink a potion as a bonus action, has you roll the dice, drink a potion as an action, lets you get the full healing from it. That is eating into your action economy. No matter how small they make it, it is eating into your turn and the stuff that you can do on that turn. Even if they say that it is a free action, DMs keep tallies in their heads of the things that you do on a turn. At a certain point, they're like, and that's where we're done. That's where we're going to stop the turn. And unless you can be like, well, no, this is my action that I'm doing now, you don't really have a leg to stand on there, because they will have let you do a bunch of things up to that point. So having somebody in your party who is able to sort of track and manage party well-being, I guess I'll call it, is vital in order to be able to actually effectively be as good as you can be in your different roles. Now, characters that are built for healing are the best at that. They're the best at what they do in that capacity. They will have taken feats, they will be stocking the right spells, they will be doing all of these things in order to actually be the most effective that they can be. It is... Oh, how do I want to put this? It's really, really important. There we go. I guess. It's not a good way to put it. It's really important to do your research when you are building a healer, because if you do not actively put in the research and you come in and you're like, yeah, I'm going to be the healer, I've got cure wounds, you're not going to be the best healer on the field that you possibly could be. And that could quite literally end up killing your party. Not necessarily that it would be your fault, but if you are walking in setting the expectation that you're going to be the best at this thing, and then you don't follow through on that, you're hanging some people out to dry there, quite frankly. Now, getting into the subclasses that are geared towards healing more. These are all usually phenomenal in that they do have some amount of dedicated healing bits to them. Not necessarily like full on, this is what they do, but they are geared towards it. There's really only one subclass where it's this is what they do, and that is the Life Domain Cleric. You could make an argument for a couple other ones too, but Life Domain Cleric is quintessentially the Healy one. Healy one? Wow, I ate that one. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Life Domain Cleric has the most built-in healing augmentations in their subclass, because that is the thing that they were written to do. Other healing-ish subclasses, like the Circle of Stars Druid, allow you to add additional things when you do heal something. Celestial Warlock and Divine Soul Sorcerer both give you the ability to access different sorts of spells that will make you even better at healing and that sort of thing. And that is all very, very important, because it gives you access to more resources to be able to do the thing that you want to do. In fact, I am of the opinion that one of the best ways to build a healer specifically is to play a Divine Soul Sorcerer, because you get access to meta magic as well, which allows you to use your bonus action more effectively on your turn. Because one of the biggest ways that healing falls short in 5th edition is that it is a lot of times an action to use whatever it is. And so if you have the ability to quicken things, you then gain the ability to do more effective things on your turn. I am playing a Divine Soul Sorcerer right now. He is the best boy. He is less than 3 feet tall, and he twins things like there's no tomorrow. He quickens things like there's no tomorrow. Sorcery points are amazing. There's a reason that Sorcerer, I think, is a super underrated class. That's not the point here. But he is also the source of healing for the party. Not entirely. We have a Druid as well who can heal. An Aasimar Druid at that. But he is sort of the anchor that will heal people up as needed. And that I like that. I like being able to play that. And I don't feel like I am an ineffective part of the party during combat or anything else like that, because I am the one that's healing. I had a similar experience when I played my Stars Druid, who I adore very, very much. I was the one with healing abilities, really. We had a Paladin, but the Paladin was focused on other things, we'll say. That show will see the light of day at some point here, and I'll make sure I let you guys know about it. And you'll see what I mean when I say he was focused on other things. But my Goblin boy was focused on trying to make sure everybody was okay and keep everybody alive. And then that sort of transitions more or less into the next thing that I think is really, really great about healers is that healers at their core, are a support class. And support classes in 5th edition are all about control. And control classes, in my mind, are absolutely king in 5th edition. So, one of the strongest arguments against healing is that the easiest way to quote-unquote heal damage is to prevent it in the first place. It's hard to argue that it's better for you to not get hit than it is for you to recover from getting hit. Or it's hard to argue against that. Because that is just like basic logic, right? If you could get hit by a car or not get hit by a car, get hit by a car and recover, or not get hit by a car, you're gonna go with the not getting hit by a car by nature of what it is. Getting hit by a car doesn't sound very fun. And it also seems like a weird use of resources to just recover from that, when in the first place you could have just been not hit by a car. So again, that's a hard argument to overcome. However, when you are, that does lead you to being able to be this excellent, so good support in all of this. And support brings that control with it. And so you do also get to play the role of preventing damage to begin with. Now, there's 2 good ways to prevent damage to begin with. One of them is to beat the thing until it's a purple goo. The other way is to absolutely control everything that it can do so that it can't do anything anymore. Nothing that would hurt you, at least. Which is where spells like Banishment, spells like Reverse Gravity, spells like Dominate Person, spells like Charm Person, spells like Command, things like that become so integral into a healer's spell list, because it is something that will set up your party members. And that is really kind of the point of healing at the end of the day, is to keep your party members set up so that they can be doing the best things that they are able to do. And that might not be a playstyle that is for everybody, but it is a vital playstyle to the success of the game, because if everybody's trying to have the spotlight, then you're playing a weird game, quite frankly. If everybody's in the spotlight, then it's not a spotlight, it's just the light, period. And so being able to help spotlight everybody and keep things rolling like that, while then also taking your licks or giving your licks when it is your time to shine, that is what being a healer is really all about. So I love healers. We knew that already about me. I think healers are super effective. We knew that already about me as well. I'm going to talk way more about healing, period, hopefully next week. Probably next week. I should have some time this weekend to get this thing wrapped up and really figured out. So stay tuned for that. But that is everything with that I have to talk to you guys about. So we go in to shows next. What shows do we have today and tomorrow? Well, it's Wednesday. So that means we have the premiere of the new season of Dimension 20, which I'm so excited about. I cannot emphasize enough that you should go watch this. It is vampires with an amazing cast, a DM that I do not know anything about, but I'm super excited to see them work, and a just cool concept, honestly. So Dimension 20, Knocked Prone, Venture Maidens, Trials and Trebuchets, and Roll Out. And tomorrow, Thursday, is Critical Role, EXU, Calamity. If you haven't been watching that, I highly recommend it. It is so very good. It hurts me how good Brennan is at the short game. My God. Anyway, Critical Role, Authors and Dragons, NADPOD, and LGBT D&D. Please go check them out, and please let them know that I sent you, because, again, at some point here, somebody's going to say something to me about it, and I think that will be funny when it does happen. But that is everything I have to talk to you guys about. So, thank you so very much for making me part of your morning routine. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much in particular to my patrons. You guys are the ones that make this show possible. If you're interested in becoming a patron, there's a link to that in the description of this episode. But that is everything I have for you. So, with all that said, don't forget, everybody, drink tea, play D&D, and keep on rolling.